All right, what's up, everybody? If there is anybody here, looks like one viewer. I don't even know if that's me or somebody else. So I don't know. Once again, what's up, everybody? It's oh, JS $10 with the what do you super chat thing. Um, thank you. Any updates on my stalker? Oh, let's see. Yeah, I keep getting black. This is you got. I'm gonna pull it up on my phone here, and let's see. Is this okay? I don't know where I. Okay, so I'll just read you some of the new messages. I don't know where I left off, but I'm getting multiple texts from this guy or whatever it is every day. Here's one. I'm sure you just got busy. Don't worry, we work with busy women only. LOL. We get it. Ha ha ha. If you want to reschedule and see how we can help you lose fat and keep it off, let me know what day works best. Then followed by, if you're alive, can you let me know? LOL. And then the next day I get a question mark as a text. Oh, and then on August 10th, it says, if you want help but are worried that you can't afford it or you're a bit shy and you don't want to talk on the phone, I got you. Below is a quick video breaking down what we offer with a link. And then there's a video at the link, and I actually watched it mainly because I was interested in how much does this cost. And so it was like $25 a month and maybe 45, $50 a month if you want like individual coaching for your weight loss and fitness goals. It was 25 a month for like a program and resources and stuff like that. I was like, whatever. And then, okay, so August 10th, about 2 hours after the link was sent, I get a message. Did you have a chance to watch the video? Sometimes it can be goofy and not work. LOL. And then there's is anyone there? That's anyone there? I get that as a text. And then another text last Friday, is anyone there? Question mark, LOL. Followed by Saturday, do you want help getting healthier? If not, no worries. And then on Monday, I get a text. Hopefully you didn't drop your phone in the toilet and now it's in a bucket of rice. LOL. And then here, I'm just going to scroll the text. Oops, hold on. It's hard to do, but I'm just going to scroll the number of texts that I've gotten from this guy. And I'm like, I don't know who taught you how to do marketing, but the last time that I checked, being a creepy stalker marketing doesn't work. I don't know if the creepy stalker marketing scheme has ever. I don't know if that's ever worked. So Jared says, I got a promotion and haven't gotten to watch any of Adam's videos for the last 2 weeks. Well, good for you, Jared. That's a good excuse for not showing up. Hope that's working out for you and you're making the big bucks now and all of that. Jared says, I prefer hot stalkers. Yeah, me too. But no, I've ghosted a girl after a bad date and not received the crazy amounts of text messages that I'm getting from this. So be careful what you sign up for. I got this new phone and I have a new phone number with it. And I'm still using the old phone, but I started transitioning to the new phone yesterday, slowly just trying to reinstall the apps that I continue using and just setting it up. It takes a while. to set up a new phone. At least for me, it can take weeks for me to actually switch from one, if I can switch from one to the other. And even if I buy a new phone on the same plan and deactivate the old phone, it takes time to get everything set up. And so I'm going through that now. Another update. I made the phone call, the dreaded phone call yesterday to the bank that's holding this money that I didn't know I had until I got this letter that this thing fell out of the sky about a week or two ago. And the phone call went well, and it went smooth. The person on the phone was very polite. And it was about a half-hour long phone call, but at the end of the phone call, I was able to, what's the term? They're sending me a check in the mail. And so this check is about $8,500, give or take. Supposedly, I've been paying an account maintenance fee every month for the last 3 years on this account that I never knew I had. But it was like $2 a month. So I probably lost $75 to $100 in fees over not knowing I had the money. But there's money, like straight up. I already started browsing for vehicles, Auto Trader, Facebook Marketplace, etc., just to see what's out there. And so far, I've bookmarked a bunch of cars, and so let me just this might be a good way to test if screen sharing works. Where we go? Share screen. Never mind. I don't want to risk kicking off the stream because I got to grant permission to share my screen. So what I'll do is at the end of the stream today, I'll grant permission or do whatever it wants me to do. Next time I can share my screen. I'm just afraid that if I grant permission for screen sharing, that it'll do something and something will get messed up on the stream. That happens. There was a time I had to do a job interview, and I had not ever used Microsoft Teams or something like that on this Mac, and so I never granted permission for anything. And so I get into the meeting and I can't talk. I can't use. I'm completely like locked out. I had to grant all these permissions that I didn't know about, and then had to quit the app and rejoin the meeting, and so that could happen. So yeah, but anyway, okay, so I'll just talk. On Auto Trader, I bookmarked a bunch of vehicles. I've narrowed it down to 4 that seemed like they would be a good deal. And then I used AI. I put them in the order that my gut told me would be the best order. And then I ran it through Grok and with the year and model, make and model, the price, and the mileage on the vehicle. And it put them in the same order my gut feeling said. So like a used 2007 Toyota RAV4 with 149,000 miles I could get for $4,000 from a private seller, probably not even 10 miles away. So, and then there was like a Subaru Forester. There was a few other vehicles in my price range. There was a Toyota Echo that popped up in the results. And that looked like a really good deal because the thing was like $3,000. And so I'm like, ooh. And it looked like it was in really good shape. Now, I don't know. I mean, that's kind of a cheap car. But I'm not looking for anything crazy. Echoes are really good. The problem with the Echo is it turns out the dealership's in Dallas. And so like you can set your distance that you're willing to go in Auto Trader, but then there'll be all these like paid listings where they'll just pollute your search results with all of that. But this Echo was in like, it looked like it was a brand spanking new. And it's a Toyota, so it'll last forever. But the RAV4 that I saw for $4,000, 150,000 miles on a Toyota RAV4 is like the break-in period. I mean, you get, yeah. Blue Sky says they get 400K. I think the RAV4 was a good, and I'm not like dead set on any. Our Echo's a mini car. Yes, they're very small. The wheels. The nice thing about them, though, I drove a Mitsubishi economy car from Enterprise Rental Car one day that I had to go into Houston, and I was like, this car kind of sucks. I would never want this car, but in my current situation, it would actually be a pretty good car. If I ever needed new tires, it would probably cost $200 to get 4 tires because it's got the little wagon wheels. But I drove to Houston and back to where I live and then drove all over the place. I put like 150 miles on this car while I had it for a day. And when I went to put gas in the tank, I went to the gas station before we went back to the rental car, and I squeezed the handle, and after like $4, it goes clunk, and I'm like, come on. And so I'm like, I squeezed the handle again, clunk, and I'm like, what's wrong with this freaking gas pump? And I'm like, wait a minute. Clunk, clunk. And I look, and I'm like, this gas tank is full. It was like $4 in gas to drive all over Houston and go like 150 miles that day. It may be more. It could have been over, I don't know. It was a lot of miles. And it was $4 in gas. And I'm like, something like that might not be so bad. And this Toyota Echo had that same kind of vibe. And it was a stick shift, so that would be cool. It would make, fun factor. But the RAV4, I know a lot of people who've had a RAV4. I've driven them a few times. I don't hate that. That would be a cool vehicle. The Echo is a 3-cylinder. Go figure. That Mitsubishi thing I drove, it felt like it had 2 or 3 cylinders. It felt like it was a lawnmower engine powering it, like a weed whacker with a muffler on it. But I wouldn't hate. If that was my car, I would be fine. I'd put a bicycle rack on top. That makes it instantly look a lot cooler, and just put some cool stickers on the back window of different bike racing brands. And now it's the car I take to go to the bike races, and I'm cool again. So you can fix them. You can fix an economy car to look nice. So I don't know. I just looked at a bunch of cars online, bookmarked. Just wanted to get a feel for what is out there. Jeep-wise, not much. Jeep, you got to pay for a 2-door Wrangler. It's hard to find a 2-door Wrangler. I don't want a 4-door Wrangler ever. If I'm buying a Wrangler, I want it small. I don't want the 2-door Wrangler is underpowered with the V6 engine. Maybe if they made a Wrangler with a Hemi, that would be pretty badass. But I think they won't, because people will flip them over and roll them over, and then they'll get sued. So they probably will never put a powerful engine in a Wrangler. If they ever did, awesome. The other Wrangler that I might want would be the new ones. The 4xe Wranglers have an electric motor with a gas tank. And so when you fill it with gas, it's an electric motor powered by a gas generator. And so you can plug it in at your home if you have the power outlet for the electric cars. And if you can keep your battery topped off, a tank of gas will last you 3 months. You might have to put stable in your fuel tank to keep the gas from going bad. But nobody would ever buy an electric Wrangler, because who wants to be out in the middle of the desert 50 miles away from a power outlet and have your battery die? And what are you going to do? Set up a big solar panel and sit in the desert for 6 weeks waiting for your battery to charge back up? So they had to do something different. So it's basically, it's kind of a hybrid, but it's not a hybrid engine. It's the motor is electric. It's just got it, but it has a gas generator. So the fun thing about it, $5 in gas, or I think it's a 5-gallon gas tank, gives you a range of like 300 to 400 miles. It's the same range with a 5-gallon gasoline tank that you would get with the standard 18-gallon gas tank on a standard Wrangler with a gas engine. But it's only 5 gallons and you get the same range. And if you have the ability to plug the thing in before the gas tank goes empty, you can extend that range as far out as you want. So say you stop someplace to eat and they have chargers out in the parking lot and you stick it in, you can get yourself a whole battery range before the electric has to kick in and charge the battery again. So I don't know exactly how they work, but I thought that was an interesting concept. That would be cooler than having an electric vehicle, like a straight up electric vehicle, but I won't get a hybrid, and I'm not getting anything with a battery to where if the battery goes bad, it costs more than the car to replace the battery. I'm just not. If they can figure out how to get these batteries for electric cars to not cost more than the car to replace the battery, then okay, call me. I might be interested. Until that day, forget it. No. I already had to replace my cell phone because the battery went dead. You can kind of see the side of the phone is like bulging out here, and you can't, to replace the battery on that is a nightmare. But smartphones Android phones, you used to be able to go take the battery out, get a new battery, stick it back in, good to go. They don't want to do that anymore. They don't want it. You got a perfectly good phone, but you need a new battery and it costs more than the phone for a battery. So, and you got to take it apart with special tools and glue it and all. Forget it. No. So I did buy a cell phone a while back. It was a first responder phone on the AT&T FirstNet thing. And it was an Android, what was it? It was a Samsung phone, but it was for first responders. Ultra rugged phone. Like, it was kind of like the S20, the Galaxy Active series, where the Active series came with a rugged, like the phones were so rugged you didn't need to get a case for them. And they stopped making those. And so I saw this and I was like, ooh, that looks interesting. And the cool thing about it was you could replace the battery. So you could have 3 or 4 batteries in your bag or whatever. And if the battery goes dead, you can just pop it off, put a new one on, you're good to go for however long. But the touch screen didn't work. They sent it to me, the screen didn't work, it was buggy, the phone was horrid. And so I had to turn around and send it right back. Like within 3 hours, it was back in the box and on its way back to AT&T. And then I went through a big hassle with the return, and it ended up having to go to the Better Business Bureau. It was a mess. It was like 3 months not being able to resolve this issue with them. And so I made up my mind. I'm like, I'll never buy. Whenever I get a new phone, it's just going to be the whatever the best Samsung phone is out. And I used to like HTC phones, but then HTC none of the carriers carry that phone brand anymore. But they used to make the best phones by far. For Android phones, the HTC phones were way better than Samsung, but you can't get them anymore. So it's like, all right, I guess I'm stuck. You're either going to get Apple or Samsung. That's it. Any of the other brands, they're kind of crap. And if you need a new phone, get the best one you can get, because it's going to be obsolete in 3 months anyway. And I want to hold on to this thing for a year. I would like to keep my phone for 3 years. I don't like. JS made a comment about having a factory reset your phone. 2 months ago, and he's still doing updates to get it back to normal. Yeah. I started installing apps yesterday and configuring things and transferring data and resynchronizing things and getting my Garmin stuff to work on the new phone and all that stuff. And I barely got any done. I mean, I got some of it done. When I leave the house to go to the bakery on Saturday, I'm not taking my old phone. I'll take the new phone with me. But then I've also got to go through this process of switching my phone number with every single app, account, and online thing imaginable. You get 6 years of free OS updates with your new phone. Good deal. I thought you just... OS updates don't really... OS updates don't cost anything, do they? I don't think I've ever... Oh, I'm off Graphene OS. It's still on the old phone, but that's another benefit. I'm on straight Android now. Graphene's not horrible, but it's open source, and there are some bugs. Like right now, there's a bug with Google Maps on all Graphene OS phones where Google Maps will stop rendering the map tiles, and you end up, when you turn on the map app, you get just a blank screen with a dot that shows where you are and no map. And the only way to make it work again is to go into the settings and clear the application data and the cache, which resets the app to be basically like you've never used it before. And then you have to open up Google Maps and go through the whole like setup screens and setting it up again. And you'll get about 3 or 4 days before it goes back to showing you a blank map with nothing on it. And it'll happen at a random time. It happened to me a couple of weeks ago when I was bicycling home from the bakery, and I was taking a route that I wasn't familiar with and hadn't memorized yet. And so I got stuck having to wing it because I couldn't just stop and I just decided, well, whatever, I'll figure it out. I was close enough. I was far enough along that if you know where Route 45 is, if you know where the major things are, you'll be okay. And I really wasn't planning on trying to cut through a cul-de-sac that has no exit out the other side or anything like that. I was on main... I see what you mean. So I was on main roads, and I generally know my way around here now, especially between where I live and where I work. So, fruit fly going around my head. I'm going to have to, hold on a second here. This is helping. Burn a little incense. They don't like the smoke. So, turn this way. Come on, tell me this is empty. Is this empty? No. There we go. All right. That'll make it better. All right. So JS says, I mean, you get 6 years of updates. Most only get 4 years or less if it's older. Yeah, with the Android updates, yeah. So the phone that I have is a Google Pixel 5, the old one, and Graphene OS no longer supports it, and you can't update the version of Android from whatever it is to anything newer. So Life Reality USA vlog. Hello, what's up? Shout out. What's going on? Welcome to the party. So those are the 2 updates. The money's on the way. I can finally get a car. Like the reality of that has I'm feeling this level of fatigue this week and tiredness that is it's significant compared. Like, I haven't felt like this in a long time, like just worn out. And I'm chalking it up to um, from August 12th of 2022 till this month, or shortly after I moved into this place, I've been in fight or flight mode pretty much nonstop. And I finally got to relax and just unwind. And this place where I live right here is very very relaxing, quiet here. There are people that live on this property. Nobody bothers anybody. I don't bother them. They don't bother me. We say hi to each other. We're not, we're all cool. There's no drama. It's just quiet. It's so quiet that you see a little window or that way, right there. I'm like the weatherman on TV. I can't figure out how to point at the map. That window right there. Right outside that window is where there's a 2 to 3 car lengths between that window and another little house like mine. Somebody lives there, and he parks right outside that window. I never hear him pull. I never hear him. I've never heard him one time pull in or leave, shutting the car door. I don't hear it. I don't hear him coming in and out of his place. I don't, like, the noise doesn't come in here, which is strange because I'll be sitting there washing the dishes, looking out the window, no car. And I'll wash like 2 or 3 dishes and I'll look up and there's his car. And I never even saw it or heard it. And it went right in front of me. I'm looking out the window. The window is right in front of the sink. And the car's right there. And I never heard the car pull in. I never heard the door open or close. And he's in his house. And there's the car. And I'm like, where the hell did 30 seconds ago, that wasn't there. And I never heard it. And so that's really nice because it's so quiet here and peaceful. No, it's straight up. It's not an EV. It's a Toyota Camry, but it's the souped up one, the racy looking one. It's got the quad tailpipes in the back, and it's a pretty nice looking car. A little bit low set. Looks like it's pretty fast, especially if it's a stick shift. It's probably a fun car to drive, and it's Toyota. Probably last forever. But it's probably low noise, but I don't hear anybody. I've done the lives last week. I did the live stream. Amazon came and dropped off a package right at the door, and I can look right out the window. I never heard it. I found out the package arrived at the end of the stream. I'm like, oh, never even knew they came. They pull up with the Amazon van right to the door, drop off the package, turn around and leave. I never heard it. I do hear cars go by on the street once in a while, but it's faint. Once in a while, a cop goes by with a siren or a fire truck or something. I mean, it's quiet here. That tool shed that I was living in a few months ago, the noise from the road was intense, and it was 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It felt like I was living in a homeless box under Route 45, the 24-lane expressway. It felt like I was living right under the overpass. And the noise level was unreal. The little house would shake as traffic would go by. I couldn't even hear myself think sometimes. It was so loud in there. And here it's the opposite. It's dead quiet. There's a nice little park at the end of the road. I haven't really explored it, but the bicycle trail goes through it. And so I go down to the end of this street to get on the bicycle trail to go to work. And it's dead quiet. It's 6:15 in the morning. I might see one car on the road on my way to the park. And it's just tranquil. It's so nice. But that once that fight or flight where I've been all wound up and ready to go and tense and stressed out for 3 straight years. Plus, you can add up. I was thinking about it today. I broke my arm in August of 2019, and I was still going to physical therapy when the COVID scam started in March. And so then that whole thing started in 2020 and 2021. And then I got fired from my remote job because I wouldn't take the shot. And just 3 years of stress led up to me going to prison. And then 3 years of the like a whole nother level of crazy stress. So in a way, it's been 6 years of me feeling like fight or flight almost permanently. And I was finally able to let my guard down when I moved in here. And my whole body is just like melting in a just the release of all that stress has been it's like, I don't know, I've had this happen before where you just get so burned out where your body just needs to go into recovery mode and rest. And moving into this place kind of started that. And I've been feeling that since, because this place is very relaxing and I haven't felt that in years. And so I'm just de-stressing from all that PTSD and that toxic stuff I went through. And now that I know I can go get a car soon, or at least I'm 90% sure, it's like I'm hitting another level of that. And I'm going to go get this car. And within the first week, I'm going to pack up and put some camping gear in there and take a bicycle. And I'll either go to Galveston Island to the state park where you can camp in a tent right next to the beach, like 100 feet away from the water line, just a little bit further back than where the sand stops. But it's a wide open space with no trees, so it might not, but it'll be September, so it might not be, 110 degrees. or I'll find a place out in the national forest or something to go camp and I just want to sit in front of a campfire out in nature, quiet, with maybe some music at night, and cook a little bit of food and just decompress and just take a deep breath, go on a bicycle ride for fun. I haven't done a bicycle ride for fun since the day I moved to Houston. Every time I get on the bicycle and pedal, it's because I have to go somewhere, and that's my transportation. So yeah, Blue Sky says camping next to the ocean would be serious chillaxing for sure. For sure. State park, it's $15 a night for a campsite there, so you can't really beat that. Showers, there's a shower, you can get a shower, you can go to the bathroom without having to cop a squat behind a tree. There's no trees there, so good thing. I don't mind. I prefer primitive camping, like out in the middle of nowhere where there's nobody around and it's free. But sitting next to the ocean with a little campfire and and having just chilling with the waves, being able to go take a dip, get on my bicycle and ride up and down Galveston and check it out. There's a bike shop down there that was looking for help. I could pop in there and talk to them and see if they still want a mechanic, and maybe it could be like a weekend job. I drive down there, and I don't know. There's all kinds of ideas going through my head, but I'm trying not to put the cart before the horse too much. But I know for a fact, as soon as I get a car, I'm going to not ride my bike for probably 2 weeks, maybe a month, unless I have to for some reason. Or if I did go on a little camping weekend or a 2-day in the middle of the week, I'd probably do it in the middle of the week, like Tuesday, Wednesday, or something, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I don't know, something like that. That way there wouldn't be anybody there, and I'd be by myself, and I would, even though the campsites are all wide open and close together, there's a good chance that I would be the only one there. So nobody's going to be there to bother me, or, I can play my music, I can chill. I'd have to bring firewood. I'd have to get some firewood bundles or cut some up before I go. There are some. I could probably find some firewood where I live. There are some tree branches I could chop up. Yeah, JS. Car, bed, curtains, kitchen stuff. The less I spend on a car, the more I can do to the new place. And I also would like to have enough money left over to go to Pittsburgh and see my kids. I think probation would allow it, especially because I have children. I don't, they've told me, the probation officer in Buffalo, when I first got out of prison, said that they would grant me permission to go on vacation. And like, if I specifically said, like, so if I wanted to go down to the Blue Ridge Mountains and go camping for a week, that would be okay. And they said, yeah, we just need to give you permission, and you need to kind of let us know where you'll be. It really didn't seem like it would be that big of a deal. He was like, we encourage people to do things like that because it's good for your mental health. And so I don't think they would be opposed. I don't think this guy here would be opposed to me going to visit my kids for a few days. As a benefit, I could pick up some things for the apartment that are still up there in storage. I could put a bike rack on the new vehicle and bring a mountain bike back with me. But the main reason would be to go up there and see my kids. I could also go and see some other people in Pittsburgh and Jamestown and just kind of do my rounds while I'm up there and kind of visit and spend some time. It's not a new bike, JS. It's well, it kind of is. I bought a mountain bike. I broke my arm in 2019 on a mountain bike I had just bought the day before. And it was like a 2 mile an hour. I just fell off the bike. The front wheel locked up. I hit a curb. It was the weirdest. It's hard to explain. I was going up over a sidewalk and there was another curb and the wheel went down in and it just kind of like jammed and I went over the handlebars, but I was going slow and I put my arm out and it broke my elbow. And it was like the weirdest freak thing that happened. And I've hardly ever ridden this bike since, but it's a 600C wheel. I'm too short for a 29er. I don't like the big 29er mountain bikes. So it's the next size wheel down, but it had hydraulic disc brakes, a SRAM 1x drive system. So it's like a 12-speed rear cassette with a single sprocket chain ring up front, aluminum specialized frame with a really nice shock with a lockout. And because it's a 1x, the left-hand side of the handlebar, I could have put a dropper seat post on it, but it didn't come with that. I bought the frame a little bit small, and the seat is completely extended out. But the next size frame up felt like it was too big for me. And that they make them small, medium, large. There's no size in inches. The medium was too big. The small was too small. I'd rather have something small, and it was on sale. And so it was just like kind of a spur of the moment buy. But then something got messed up. So like one of the rear chain stays has a big gouge in it from rubbing up against another bike on a bike rack. And so there's negative energy with this bike. I don't think that chainstay damage is enough to like worry about in terms of like, I don't think it's going to break, but I'm going to have to wrap the chainstay with like handlebar tape or something to kind of make it look cool. But mountain bikes get gouged up and beat up. As soon as you start mountain biking, that's going to happen. So But I have this really nice mountain bike that I could bring down here. I could have brought it with me when I moved here, but I could only fit one bike in the vehicle, and I chose the one that I trust and the one that I would normally the one for commuting is the one I brought because I knew it was my transportation, and that's the one I trust the most. So I tried to find a bike rack for this minivan at Walmart on my way to Pittsburgh, and I couldn't find one that would fit this van. And I wasn't going to go spend a ton of money at a bike shop for one, and I just didn't have time. I figured it was like a one stop. If they have something at Wally World that I can use, then I'll take both bikes with me to Houston, but I couldn't, so I didn't. And I just had to stuff my road bike with the wheels off in the back of this minivan and just roll with it. And it all worked out. And now I've got the two bicycles, and I tuned them up last Friday because I had a broken spoke I had to replace. And on the Red Rocket and the Silver Bullet, needed some. I replaced a quick release skewer because the back wheel came off while I was riding, and that's not good to have your wheels fall off. So I don't know why it happened. It was a freak thing. I was at an intersection and I pushed down on the pedals to start, and the wheel just goes out of the frame. And I'm like, but I replaced the quick release skewer just in case it was a bad skewer. I kind of feel like I know what happened, but I just didn't feel comfortable riding that bike until I put it in the work stand and actually went through it and like really checked it out. Replaced the quick release skewer. I've gone on 200 miles now with no problems at all since I did that. So we're good to go. Got two good bikes. The Red Rocket's still pristine. I haven't ridden it since I replaced the spoke. So I've got two bikes. If one's a problem, the other one's right there for me. So, and then when I get a car, I'll still have two bicycles in waiting. So if something, one is none, two is one, three is two, I don't know, but I'll be able to get around. So let's see. Yo, what up, Carlos? Checking in from Orlando. What up? Good to see you again, buddy. And glad you could make it to the party. And before I even, so this thing came up from YouTube, and I got to get your input, the audience members here. So I want to see the replies. So I wasn't even paying attention to this because YouTube keeps sending me this email, and I'm just like, yeah, whatever. Even though I'm shadow banned, they're offering this thing. They do this from time to time. If I turn on channel memberships, YouTube will give me $600 just for turning on memberships to my channel. And all right, it says I'm live. So it's pretty straightforward for me to refresh if this happens. I just have to close the browser window and jump back to it, and it lets me just jump back into my own thing. So all right, cool. It says you're back. So what I was saying is, yeah, they want to give me, and I looked into, so I was like, wait a minute, $600 just for turning this on. And I looked into this, and supposedly it's legit. I watched some videos about it, and there's some Reddit forums. If they offer this to you and you turn it on, they pay you. So they'll give me $600 just to turn that on. And so I'm like, okay, maybe I'll just do that to get the money, right? And but anyway, I wanted to know, like, if I turn on memberships for the channel, my thoughts are, what would be worthwhile for being a paid member of this channel, right? And I look at like what other people do with their channels and the memberships. And so like one thing that a lot of people want is members videos, or if you pay for a channel membership, you don't have to watch commercials anymore. And no, that's what I was thinking, JS. No other conditions like getting a certain number of members or anything. I thought that's why I wasn't like, I was like, I ain't got, like, I thought maybe there'd be some conditions or stipulations that I wouldn't meet. And it doesn't seem to be the case. It's like they pay you $600 and then they give you $6 every time somebody becomes a member. So I don't know. They're probably, I mean, I don't know. Like, I barely looked into this today, but I thought I would throw it out to the regulars here on the live stream because, so like one thing that people want is to have an option where you can be a member of a channel and then never have to watch commercials anymore. But YouTube won't do it like that. And then I looked into, can I upload the same video twice and have one be members only with no commercials and one for everybody else with commercials? No, they'll flag you for that. Duplicate content. People do like members only videos where it's just a video for members only, but I don't even know what I would do in a video like that. Like, what would be worthwhile for someone to pay for to then see me talk about like the same crap I talk about anyway, but without I don't know. I don't want to do it if there's like nothing. Like, I'll turn it on and get the money, but I don't know what I'll do with it, is what I'm saying, because I don't want people just paying me for nothing. Like, what would be worth it? What would be worth a membership? Somebody's asking, like, how much does it cost? I can determine that. YouTube takes 30% of whatever you make off of YouTube, which is high. So, like, if you go to my donate page, which is donate.litgood.com, the chicken bucket, it's like I pay like 3% to Square for that. But if you make money on YouTube directly, they take 30%. But whatever, I don't look at it like that so much because it's just money that comes my way. And when people do super chats and things like that, it helps me meet the threshold so that I get a payout every month from YouTube. So, but anyway, so members only videos would be one thing. I could do a members only live stream where only people who have memberships can come. But right now I've got like maybe 10, 20 people at the most coming into a live stream. So, I mean, what's the point there? But that's something that people do when they have a bigger following, and then they'll have a members only stream where only the people that pay every month can go see it. And it's a little more, one-on-one. So if 500 people were coming to this stream every week, and for whatever reason, I did the members only stream and there were like 20 people who were members, then the stream would be a lot more tight and we could all just kind of talk and, you get more play. I can see that. Okay, fine. And then they also do a thing where you can have early access to a video for members only, and then after a period of time it becomes available to everybody else. But that doesn't ring to me either, at least not the way I'm doing the videos right now. I'm already delaying. I record it and then I put it up however many days later, and so that doesn't even I don't think that's a good idea either. The only other idea that I had would be a photo of the month club, where you pay a certain amount of money to support the channel, and maybe I would do a members only live stream or something like that. But if I made it the right price, I could choose a photograph out of the collection, and it would be the same for everybody. It would just be this is this month's a photo of the month club, and just send a nice 8x10 or a 10, whatever the right size print is, to everybody who subscribes. It's easy for me to do. It's It's all just computerized. I do a photo lab handles this. They use white gloves. There's no fingerprints. Like they're perfectly, they're in, they're in a protective layer. They're shipped overnight. Like they do a better job than I would do myself. And the biggest expense for me with the photo lab, the photos, depending on the size, really aren't that much. It's the shipping that costs a little bit more. And if I could, like, I wouldn't have to do overnight shipping for these. So if there's like a cheaper shipping option, but to protect the photographs, they do. I think the shipping options are limited because you don't just want the post office running this crap through you don't want someone crumpling it up. You don't want like the FedEx guy just tossing it in the ditch as they drive by your house or whatever. But I thought that might be a cool thing. But I can make the membership as cheap as 99 cents a month, and it can go up to whatever I want it to be. And there can be tiers so that, like, at this level you get this, at this you get that, at this you get the other thing. So like I could do it like $1 a month and then do like a members only stream. And if for some reason there was 100 members doing $1 a month, we could all have a live stream and I'd make $100 a month to do it. Okay, fine. Photo of the month club sounds cool because, it could be, but it would have to be, part of it, and as part of that you would get whatever comes in the tier below. So like if it was like $1 a month to $1 a month to join the members only live stream for now, and then it was however, I don't know what the price would be for the photo of the month club, but you would be able to come to the live stream and get a photograph sent to you every month, and that would actually help me get back into doing my regular photography and editing and everything. And I would choose photographs that have more of like a mass appeal. I won't just be like, here's the Pittsburgh skyline to somebody who lives in California, and who cares about Pittsburgh? I've never even been there. Right. But, but like a nice sunset that's universal, sunrise, sunsets, scenery, landmarks, things that anybody anywhere would enjoy looking at. And I could even do different tiers, like 8x10 club or the framed photo or the metal print or whatever. I don't know. I don't know what else I could do as an offering for a member, or like what kind of videos would be worth paying for. Like you tell me. Like I'm like, give me some ideas of what. I'm not asking anybody to join or do it. That's up to you or whatever. I'm not begging. It's more like I'm asking just as curiosity, what would be worthwhile for somebody to sign up for if it caught, if you were paying for a membership. There's a lot of like Patreon people that could go to Patreon and you can subscribe to this or that, and I'll do this and that and the other thing. And everybody's got their own thing. But like, what would be worth $5 a month? Like what would be worth $20 a month? I don't know. What would be worth $1? Jared asks, are you still thinking of hosting a Bible study? Yeah, but I wouldn't make people pay for that. I think Jesus would have a problem with that. I would have a problem with that. So that wouldn't be part of some membership. Oh, you can pay me this much a month to come to Bible study? No. So, exclusive subjects for paying members. I just don't know what it would be. Like I would like if I was going to do photography tutorials and teach people how to use Photoshop and stuff like that, I could see having some free, doing free videos and then having a membership tier where I unlock more in-depth classes and stuff like that. That would be worth paying for. It would take me time to do those videos. That would be, that would actually be a little bit more involved. Yeah, some people do early release. I'm not releasing my videos early to begin with. So that would be kind of douchey unless I could get back into the rhythm of, I shoot a video in the morning and it goes up the same day. So you could do the Bible study subscription and then use the money to get bikes to the homeless. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It just doesn't seem right. I think if I get a vehicle, I see bicycles on Facebook Messenger, Craigslist, stuff like that, that would be good for that purpose in the $50 to $100 range. Good bikes, not Huffies, like vintage mountain bikes, like an old Diamondback from like the mid 90s. Those things are pretty bomb proof. You know, an old Trek, a Trek 950 or something from the mid 90s, you know, steel frame. I see Specialized bikes. I see other brands. And it doesn't have to be a mountain bike. It could be a hybrid or whatever. But I feel like if I did this a few times and got a little bit of cred, I would get all kinds of help coming to me to do it. Like if I fixed up a few bikes and took them to a homeless shelter, I would make friends right away. And then all of a sudden I'd start meeting people. You could even have like, I would be making connections with bicycle shops that would probably be like, you can come in and work on the bikes. You can use our tools. You know, and this could take off. And I would totally love doing that. My YouTube tagging autofill. Yeah, so F the Bible study, maybe do exclusive dev or photography tutorial. I'm not gonna not don't no, I'm not no the Bible study doesn't get a big F. But I was just thinking about doing that on Sundays anyway. I just have to get to a point where I'm not wiped out on Sunday. But yeah, JF says go for it. 600 is a lot. Like I said, if I can get $600 just for flipping a switch and turning that on, I'm doing it. Whether people join the membership or not, I don't care. 600 bones is that. I mean, that comes. That's almost. It's like 3/4 of a month's rent. Boom. If I do it before the end of August, I'm assuming I would get the payout in the middle of September when they pay you. But if I wanted to actually like offer something for people to have a subscription, I just don't know. I don't really know what. The only thing that I could really, that would be unique would be the photo of the month club or something like that. And it would motivate me to edit more of my photos. I have a never ending supply. I have tens of thousands of images. I would never run out. So, and if I just did it simple, if I kept it simple to where it was the same photo for everybody, but every month you get a new one, it'd be like getting a calendar, except it's cooler than a calendar because you can leave it hanging up forever. But it'd be 12 months of the year with a photo instead of a calendar attached to it. It's just a photo, cool ass photo. So, sunrises, sunsets, nice nature photography, and mostly things that aren't location. If they are location specific, it would be like tourist destinations or like a beach or somewhere, or, just things that would be cool. Maybe a bike ride along or a vlog from a campsite for the members only. You could do like a members only bike ride type thing. I can afford a little bit of equipment. If I get a car that's cheap and I have money left over, I could set aside. I'm going to get some hard drives because I'm running out of space, like I talked about. That's like no brainer. That would be like day one. If I can get a portable, I have GoPro cameras. I would like to get a helmet camera or something that is very low profile with image stabilization, and then I could wear a GoPro on my chest and have a rear-facing camera. And then if I had a microphone with a wind screen, they make like special wind socks for microphones that are super fuzzy, and they're meant for blocking the wind when you're like moving, like on a bicycle kind of thing. And if I could like mount a microphone here and I could talk while I'm riding my bike with the wind and not have the wind blowing over the microphone ruining the sound in a sound recorder, I could do cool bike ride videos, totally bicycle commuting videos, and I think that could be fun. And then those could be like early release or something, where members only for a couple of weeks, and then release it. I don't know. I'll brainstorm and see what other people do, but I'm definitely going to turn it on. I don't see why I should throw away $600. I was ignoring it, and I wasn't paying that much attention to it because YouTube's always kind of flashing stuff in front of you that I just don't care about, trying to entice you to do this or that. And I'm just like, you want to give me $600 after you've been shadow banning me for a year? Go for it. Be my guest. I'll make up for some of the other stuff you're doing to me, YouTube. But they must not hate me completely if they want to just give me money. 600 would get new camera equipment. Yeah, I mean, something. Some of my camera equipment got destroyed. When I came out of prison, all of my camera gear was in pristine condition. It had been stored properly, and I had taken time over the first few weeks that I was home from prison to just charge all the batteries, reorganize everything, and it was all ready to go. And then when it was stored for me in Pittsburgh, it was left in a basement, and everything got covered in mold. And mold is inside the lenses that destroys a lens. So either to take apart a lens and try to get the mold out is a nightmare. And so like I haven't gone through everything with a fine-tooth comb to see what's good and what's not. But you're talking like tens of thousands of dollars of camera equipment going back. One of the cameras was handed to me by my grandfather. It was a Canon AE1 with a bunch of lenses that my grandfather gave me when he died. So it's like an emotional thing to go through this. There was other lenses that my mother gave me when I was in art school. My first camera I still own from art school from it's a Minolta something or other. It's the first, and I've got modern cameras too. I've got a ton of photography equipment collected over 30 years of my life. And it's an emotional, it hurts to know that my stuff got messed up like that. It makes it hard for me to even open the camera bag and try to go through it. And plus I've been so busy lately. Since I moved to Houston, I haven't had time for that. But it's my passion. I would rather do photography full time than anything else if I had a choice. And I feel like I'm good at it. I'm not the best in the world, but I have my own style, and I know what I like. I know what I'm good at and what I'm not good at with photography. Nature, travel photography, being at the right place at the right time, synchronicity, being able to go someplace with a plan of what I want to shoot, and then the lighting or whatever, something's not right, and being able to turn it into a really good photo because I can just wing it. Yeah, Blue Sky has some suggestions. There are things to do. The biggest problem is once you open up a camera lens and start trying to clean it out, you're inviting dust to come inside. You need special tools. Some of the lenses aren't that expensive to replace. Some of them are. They're designed to be taken apart generally, but it's one of those things. It's not easy to do sometimes. So it's just one of these things I have to really go through with a fine tooth comb and see what's what. Some things made it, some things didn't. And, set it aside what's salvageable, what's fixable, what's perfectly fine, and just kind of group it all, organize it all, and then start. I only need a few cameras and a range of lenses to, like, when I started getting serious about photography, I had 2 cameras and a few lenses, and I would go on long trips with nothing else. And then I just started to accumulate more stuff or pull stuff out of my past, find adapters to use certain lenses with certain cameras, and just kind of like building up a kit from there. And so I have like a core kit that I always take with me, and then I have other stuff that more or less used to sit in my camera closet. But I had a controlled like environment at my house. I had a special closet for my gear that never, temperature wise and humidity wise, it was like the perfect place to store them, and they would never have any problems. And it was just somebody put them in the wrong place when they were and it was only 4 months. It only took 4 months of being in that bad space to completely screw it all up. They had been stored away for me while I was in prison for 2 years, and nothing was wrong with anything when I came home. 4 months stored in the wrong place, killed it. And it just hurts because it's like, I opened up one camera bag and I'm like, oh my God. And I had a panic attack, and I tried not to get mad. And I know that the person felt bad. Like, it wasn't like it was a mistake and I should have, whatever. It's gear. It can be replaced. So I'm not, at the end of the day, whatever. Money wise though, camera gear is not cheap. Professional camera gear isn't cheap at all. So it's kind of like direct replacements for some of that stuff in the used market would be relatively cheap because, some of it's old. So it really boils down to me having a place to work that's clean. And I'm thinking about putting behind me here where you see those 2 tripods, the bike stand and the tripod there. I'm going to get a workbench to put there, mainly for working on bicycles. But it'll have all the tools hanging on pegboard. It'll be very organized, but it'll be like my man workspace, because this place is small. So that would also be a good place to work on cameras and have a nice workbench with a stool and I have a lot of the tools that I would need to do that. But it's just, some place where I can do it in a controlled manner. Hey, what's up, Pink and the Stink? Place looks nice and clean. It's all right. It's a little off, but my dishes are done. You can see behind. It's not a mirror image when I'm looking at myself in the thing here. So the bottles there are all empty and have to be filled with that water filter there. And it takes a long time. So it's kind of like, Blue Sky says it'll kill the mold. There's ways to do it. There's documented ways to clean mold off of camera lenses. But what can happen is, if it's too bad, the mold will actually etch the glass, and it will etch through the coatings on the lenses, and that'll destroy them. So even if you clean them, you get the mold off, and you do all of that, the lens could still be ruined. But it really boils down to how severe it is. And so, like one really expensive lens that I have, I've gone through it with a flashlight and everything. Like, it doesn't look like it has a speck of anything in it. So it looks like it's fine. Stink says, have you ever thought of moving to Southeast Asia when you retire? I know several people who work remotely from Thailand and the Philippines. No, I haven't really thought about that. Can I, with a felony on my, felony conviction? I know I can't, probably can never go to France if I want to go watch the Tour de France in person. Now, I definitely will never be able to go to Canada again. They're like, that's pretty much done. You can get a freaking speeding ticket and get banned from going to Canada ever again. Northern Thailand on less than $1,500 a month. Yeah, I mean, my brother is moving to Asia when he gets off paperwork in December. I mean, who knows? Who knows? I'm not thinking that far ahead. I got enough motivation and reason to stay here in the States, and I will just be happy when I can freely go somewhere again. My travel restrictions hasn't been, they love you long time. Yeah, I mean, but you got to be careful. Those Thailand ladyboys, they don't even have Adam's apples, and you got to be careful what you sign up for when you go over there. From what I hear, the travel restrictions that I'm under don't matter because I can't really I can't ride my bike far enough to go outside the district. The farthest I've gone, if the farthest I've traveled, I was in a county that was on the border of where I'm allowed to go. But I still would have had to go another 30, 40 miles before I was outside of my zone. When the district that I'm allowed to travel in, it's like around Houston. It's like from the coast, maybe 3 counties in from the coast and a little bit north of Houston. And then I can go all the way down the eastern coast of Texas, all the way down to the Mexican border, including Corpus Christi and anything, basically 3 counties from the border and up and down the coast. So it's a big area. I could get in a car and drive all the way down to the Mexican border, past Corpus Christi and all the way down to the edge and all the way back. But I'm not allowed, but it's the federal district. If you wanted to know, like for Pittsburgh, it was all of Western Pennsylvania from about State College all the way to the Pennsylvania border of Ohio and down to the Maryland border, West Virginia border, and the New York border. But it's all the western half of Pennsylvania. For New York, when I was in Jamestown, my travel restriction was basically a little bit west of basically from like Syracuse in a straight line from Lake Ontario down to the Pennsylvania border and all the way across New York State. That whole area of New York State I could travel freely within. So I just happened to live walking distance from the Pennsylvania border when I first came out of prison. Pink is asking, you got any prospects at the bait? I don't dip in the company pool. That's a no. Yeah, never dip your pen in the company ink, JS says. Yeah. That's just that's a problem. I wouldn't even, that's not something I would pursue. But I mean, I'm old enough to be these girls' grandfather, let alone their dad. So like you're talking about girls that are like 16 years old. There's one girl that's been working there since she was 14. I think she's 18 now. I don't know. She's not even 18 now. Because she's not allowed to use the mixers. But yeah, they're young. That's like Adam goes back to prison young. So, and then there's like, some of them are like 20 to 22, 23. And there's a few people my age. I'm not the only one my age there. It's one, two, three, four, five. There's five of us elders. Um, but no, there's no dipping my pen in the company ink well hasn't been 14. I guess they don't have labor laws in Texas. Um, there's a special exemption. There's a special circumstance for that, but no, there's actually more than one girl there that was working there when they were. No, you just can't. It's like most states. You can work when you're young to a degree, but your hours are limited and what you're allowed to do and not allowed to do and things like that and what time you can work and all those kinds of things. There's a lot of restrictions when you're young. But the big one is if you're not 18 years old yet, there's a bunch of equipment you can't even touch or use. So, but the heavy mixers that, things that can take your hand off and, rip your arm off and mix it in with the cookies and stuff. New York had laws. I never really looked for a job in New York State until I was 16 years old, so I didn't really have to really know any of that stuff. I worked at a Burger King for like a year, and then the local bicycle shop. Basically, I went to the bicycle shop every week for over a year. You guys hiring? You guys hiring? You guys hiring? They finally hired me because they were sick of me coming in all the time. And it worked out. I mean, we were all good friends. I still consider the owner of that bike shop to be a friend to this day. If I went up there, I'd visit. I'd stop in and say what's up. I'm sure I'd have quite an interesting conversation because everybody knows what happened to me because it was national news. So I'm very well known back where I'm from, where I grew up. Everybody, that was like the talk of the town. Everybody. So, but I was 16 when I started working. So I never, and once you hit, up there, once you were 16, there weren't really many restrictions on you for that. Pink says, I had a paper route in Redondo Beach at 12. My route was the beach house on Esplanade. Yeah, I could have got farm work. I grew up in farm country in Western New York, and they were always hiring kids to go out and work in the fields and stuff. Like this one farmer that rented the fields. My grandfather owned a farm, but he didn't farm the land. So the farmers were like, we'll pay Adam to go out in the fields and pick up all the stones. And I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'm like, nah, I'm cool. I'm not going to go out in a freaking giant cornfield and carry stones, break my back carrying rocks out of the cornfield for a whole summer to make a couple bucks a day or whatever. I was like, nah, we're good. I mean, you're talking huge cornfields to just have like a kid run. I don't know. They were just trying to get me to do something. And they were kind of like, people were, my family was like, oh, he's lazy, blah, blah, blah. No, as soon as I turned 16, or as soon as I got to that year in high school, I wanted a job and I went and got a job. I've been working ever since. So, no, I'm not lazy. I was just going to enjoy my childhood. I never made my kids go get a job. My daughter, she went and got a job when she wanted one. She went and got a job at Burger King. She was, I forget how old, like 15, 16 years old. She wanted to get a job. So she went and got one. And I was like, go do it. But I didn't make her. I didn't like goad her into it. I knew she'd want to. Yeah, but that JS says if they paid well, I would do it as a young kid. That was the thing. They wouldn't pay well. It was whatever it wasn't worth it. Or if it was, I would have been like, yeah, I'll go. I'll be out there tomorrow. No, it would have been, It wouldn't have been worth it. I don't even know if they were offering that to me as a joke or if they were truly serious. This was, I mean, I was like 13, 14 years old. So, my memory of that is very limited. Um, anyway, so we talked about the memberships. I'll give that some thought. I have until September 5th to turn it on, or I lose the $600. So I'm gonna turn it on to get paid. I'm gonna do it probably this weekend or next week. But what I'm gonna put in there for memberships, I don't know. I'm just gonna think of something. I'll do a little homework, do a little more brainstorming, and see what I can come up with that might be worth it. Like something that I would be like, oh, I'd sign up for that if I have money. Take a look at what the other people do who have memberships and like what do they offer. I've even thought about doing a Kickstarter thing for different photography stuff. But, it's just something to think about at this point. And other than that, not a whole lot going on. I'm trying to think if there's anything else going on to talk about. Let's see here. The bicycling is, they're all talking about living in California. I haven't really spent much time out there. I've been to San Francisco. See, the thing about California is everybody I meet from California, everybody I've ever met from California are always laid back and cool. And this whole thing about, the crazy liberals, I know they're there. I mean, there's gangbangers in California too that shoot each other in drive-bys all the time and bouncing cars as they go down the road. And but I've met a lot of people. Pink in the Stink is asking, what's your opinion on Fuji bikes? My first real bike was a Fuji. I had a Fuji Ace. So you had the Fuji Roubaix, and I had a 58 centimeter Fuji Ace, probably in the early 90s. I actually have the catalog. I found it online. I have a PDF of the catalog from that year in my note app. Let me take a look. 1992 Fuji Ace. But I got a 58 centimeter. I ride a 54 centimeter to this day. That's the size I ride for road bikes. Usually a 17-inch mountain bike frame and a 48 or a 54 centimeter road bike frame. But when I bought the bike, I kept thinking I was going to grow a little bit more because I was like 15 years old. And I bought my Fuji brand new on layaway at this neighborhood bike shop that a guy had in his garage. And even the bike shop owner was trying to talk me out of getting a bike that big. But I felt like I would grow into it, but I didn't. I didn't grow anymore. My legs have been the same length. I got short legs. When I get in a car, I have to pull the seat all the way up. Like really, like even people that are shorter than me will get in a car that I drive and have to push the seat back. So I don't know. I guess I've got short legs. And so the Fuji when I bought my Fuji brand new back in 1993, it was like $450. The Roubaix was the higher end bike. I'm looking at the catalog right here. So the Ace that I had was the one below yours. The Roubaix was the high end racing bike, and the Ace was the low end. And there may have been one higher than the Roubaix. I don't remember, but The bicycles that I have now, the Cannondale that I have, I found all the information on these bikes. The Cannondale that I have is a 1990 Cannondale ST600, and it's a touring bike, but it was made in 1989. And I have the serial number. I have photographs of it. I don't know what it would have cost. Maybe AI can tell me while I sit here. What did it cost back then? About $650. Would have been about $600-700 back in the day. That sounds about right. Okay, so like every bicycle brand has a range of prices. So a bike shop, if you go to a bicycle shop, you can find bicycles. I don't know about today, but when I worked at bike shops, the low end bikes were about $200, and they just went up from there, as much as you want to pay. Certain brands start at a higher price. So Cannondale, like I said, my Cannondale back in 1990 would have cost about $600-700. The Specialized bike that I just bought a while back, I bought it for $300 on Facebook Marketplace. It was pretty much brand spanking new, except now that I've had it for a while and I could do some homework, the owner upgraded the shift levers and brake levers. That's very apparent because they're much nicer than what it came with. And I think he updated the rear derailleur too, and maybe a couple other parts. I've updated a couple parts. I'm just going to look at the MSRP, but I think that it was about a $1,200 bike when it was new. No, Specialized. Doesn't really say. I would say it was around $1,200 when it was new. That would be my guess. Back in 2000, it's a 2003 Specialized Sequoia Expert. I would have to do some more homework to know what it would have cost back in 2003 when it was new, but based on the components and just general knowledge, it was about $1,000 bike. My Specialized mountain bike, I don't even know what model it is, to be honest. It was a previous year model when I bought it, so it was on sale. I bought it for $1,200, but it might have been close to $2,000 when it was new. I got a really good deal on it. I was like, whoa. I just kind of went into this bike shop to casually see what they had. And when I saw the price, I was like, oh, wow. Because I was looking for a mountain bike. And when I saw the price, I was like, ooh. But $300 for an aluminum frame Specialized road bike. It's kind of a cross between a racing bike and a touring bike. It's got all the mounts for a rack on the. It's got a mount for the rack on the rear, and it's got mounts. It's got 3 water bottle mounts and other stuff, but the geometry is more like a racing bike, and I treat it more like a racing bike. I'm not using all the mounting points, and I'm not putting stuff on it. But it has an extra set of brake levers on the top of the handlebars, which is kind of weird. It's not something I've really seen before. The only thing I really don't like about this bike are the shape of the handlebars sucks. My hands don't like it. My hands get sore. So I want to replace the handlebars someday with another set of drop bars, but more ergonomic to my own hand shape, or just something more comfortable there. But this bike would have been like $1,200. I got it for $300. The thing is pretty much brand new. It feels like a brand new bike. I've definitely got, I've got my money's worth out of it for sure. I've put over 1,000 miles on it since I bought it. Let's see, what do we got here? Cannondales. Somebody was asking, oh, what do you think about Fuji? We talked about that. Any bicycle shop brand will have really good bikes. I don't really think that I'm not brand centric. I don't have a favorite brand. I've owned a lot of bikes in my day, all kinds of brands. There are a lot of good bike shop. There's a lot of good brands that make really good quality bikes. Copious amounts unknown. What's up? Was asking, what do you think of these new electric bikes? I think they have a place. I'm kind of hesitant to own one, mainly because it's more stuff to break and more stuff to maintain. The two types of e-bikes, you've got electric motorcycles. Sometimes they just have pegs and it's straight up an electric motorcycle. And sometimes they'll have crank arms and pedals that you can pedal when the juice runs out. But they have motorcycle seats, and it's like having a motorcycle, but the crank arms are there to show the cops that it's a bicycle. And some of these weigh 160 pounds, and I would never want to buy one of those, because when the battery goes dead, if I got to pedal a 160 pound electric motorcycle back home, it's going to suck. But a bicycle brand electric bike, like a Trek Specialized, Greg LeMond has some nice road bikes that are electric. They're pedal assisted, usually. So you have to pedal, but the bike has a hub motor or a motor in the bottom bracket that assists you and gives you more power as you pedal, multiplies your power. So I was riding to work one day and I was on this bike trail, and this guy, I saw somebody riding behind me, like way back in the distance. And I had gone, and I'm like, I just like thought to myself, oh, he's never going to catch up to me. Not even 2 minutes later, this dude goes flying by me. Flying. And I'm like, and he's wearing sneakers. He's not even wearing bicycle shoes. He's wearing regular shorts, a regular t-shirt, may or may not have had a helmet on. And like sneakers were I'm like, yo. And it didn't register. And I started trying to keep up with him. And he was going like 20, 25 miles an hour down this trail, and he wasn't working for it. And I'm like, what the hell did this guy just shoot up with? Like, I'm like, man, Lance Armstrong's going to want some of that. And it took me like 15 minutes. I felt demoralized. I mean, this guy just was gone. I had no chance of keeping up with him. And it took me like 15 minutes or so. And I'm like, wait a minute, that was an e-bike. It was a Trek. But it didn't look like an e-bike to me. It just looked like a regular bicycle. But I'm like, wait a minute, that was definitely an e-bike. There's no way. There's no way he was going that fast, putting no effort in, flying. Now, the bike shop e-bikes, like the bicycle e-bikes from Trek Specialized, there's a bunch of them. Trek Specialized, LeMond, and other brands. I was looking at a Specialized on Facebook Marketplace for $1,200. Probably would have been $5,000 new. With pedal assist, you can top out at like 25, 30 miles an hour with putting no effort in. Just shift into the highest gear, turn the throttle, and go. But you got to pedal. But your heart, I mean, you can cruise along at like 25 plus with no effort. There's an eco mode where you'll get a longer range but less assistance. In eco mode, they have like a 50, 60 mile range. So with that range, it's like, I could go to work and back 50 miles without draining the battery on something like that, and barely and go 25 the whole way. That's like Tour de France speed. So that would be fun. And the bicycle brands, the weight is like 50, 60 pounds for an e-bike. So when the battery dies, it's a regular bicycle. You can still ride home. You can still pedal it like a regular bike. And so if I was getting an e-bike, it would be something like that. One in the pink just dropped $4.99 in the super chat. So thank you for that. Much appreciated. All of that helps me meet the threshold for YouTube to pay me next month. So that would be cool. I don't know where I'm at pace wise. It looked like I was going to come up short by the end of August to get that $100 from YouTube. But whatever, if it doesn't, well, the 600, if I do this membership thing, if they drop it in my account, then that qualifies for the payout next month. But whatever, if I have to wait till mid-October, no big deal. I don't really live off of this. It's more like, it's just nice to have. But thanks a lot. That's awesome. But having an e-bike, there was a minute that I was like, I would be interested in this. And then it disappeared off of Facebook Marketplace, but there was two of them. Blue Sky says, keep us updated if they pay that out. I will. I'm going to look into it with more depth, but I did a little bit of homework and it seems legit. Like, just sign up and you'll get the money. So I don't think there's any stipulations. I Dig Sheet was asking if I'm rolling in the money yet. So if you're referring to the bank that had that money that I didn't know about, I'm supposed to be getting a check sometime in the next 10 days, and then I can go buy a car. And I'm already kind of casually browsing Auto Trader and other things. There's that guy in California, too, who had a car who he wanted to send it to me. And all I would have to pay for is the shipping. I haven't really talked to the guy in the last few weeks because money's just been tight. But that could be an option. It's a mid-90s Honda Accord or something, and those are reliable as hell. So that would leave a lot of money on the table for other things. But if I can find something that I can look at, take on a test drive, lift up the hood, all the stuff, and I'd be more comfortable with that. The Honda that the guy had was a pink in the stink here. It was his dad's, and his dad passed away. And he says he's going to donate it to charity, but he wanted to offer it to me first. Yeah, I mean, the only thing I hesitate about is like finding a shipper to ship a car and then having to trust them and then having to get a car that's sight unseen and all that. And so, like, you know, it's not like I don't trust that this is real or that guy has bad intentions or anything. Like, it's not anything to do with that. I feel like finding somebody to move a car from California to Houston is it's probably about $1,200 plus. You got to make sure you don't find a scammer to do, you know. And it just seems there's enough hesitation there that when this check comes my way, I'm probably just going to look local. Like I said, I already found a RAV4 for $4,000 that has 148,000 miles on it, 149,000 miles on it. But it's a Toyota RAV4. That's not a lot of miles, and it's in nice shape in terms of the photos. Oh, Blue Sky says if you're taking a vacation with your payout, go pick it up personally. I can't just leave. I'm on probation, so I can't just go where I want. I can go up and down the Texas coast all the way to Mexico and back, but I can't go to Austin or Dallas without permission. I'd have to get permission from probation to go visit my kids in Pittsburgh. So what I was going to say, copious amounts unknown, reminded me of this. So I was thinking about buying a specialized e-bike on Facebook Marketplace, just loosely. I really wasn't serious about it. The battery is $1,200, 800 to $1,200 for a new battery. But this is a bicycle that would have been $5,000 new. But when you get to the point where you need a new battery for your e-bike, you're like, it's like 800, $1,000, $1,200 for a battery. So yeah. It's the same thing with the electric cars. Like a hybrid, I don't even want a Prius or a hybrid. I drove a hybrid minivan from Buffalo, New York to Houston, and I spent $140 in gas. I filled up the gas tank 3 times to go all the way from Buffalo, New York to Houston, Texas in a minivan. But it was a Toyota Sienna hybrid, and I'm telling you, I could drive that thing all day on a tank of gas, and I'm like, when do I got to get gas? And it was crazy. This van got 40, 50 miles to the gallon, no problem. But the cost of a battery, when your Prius battery goes bad, it's like $7,000 for a battery. I looked at online. I was looking at Carvana for a minute, a while ago, like back in September. They had all these smart cars, the Smart 4.2 cars that are electric, and they were selling them for like $7,000-8,000 with like very low mileage. And I'm like, oh, wouldn't that be? I mean, I don't want a smart car, but an electric smart car probably has a good range if you had a place to plug it in and you never had to buy gas. I mean, it could be a cool little side car to get you around town or whatever. And so I looked into it. I'm like, what does it cost when you need a new battery? $30,000. It was $30,000 in this smart car to replace the battery when the battery goes bad for a $7,000 car. Blue Sky says Toyota has a bad motor in those that consume oil. I had an 09 Camry that had a bad motor, and I have a friend who has a 06 RAV that also has one of those bad Toyota motors that consume oil. I forget, it was a 2007, the RAV4, because you were asking that. I did learn about some of that stuff doing my research. I don't know if it was the RAV4 or another vehicle that I was looking up that said that could be an issue. Let's see. Pink says hybrids are great, electric cars not so much. You can still drive a hybrid with a bad battery. Wow, took an extra quart every 200 miles. Yeah, that's pretty rough. Yeah, I would have to look that up. The motor, that came up on one of the cars that I was looking at. I don't know if it was the RAV4. But that would be something I'll think about. And I'm not at a point where I'm going to go look at a car. I have to have that money in the bank before I even go look at. And so I have a feeling like I keep praying to God that, whatever car you want me to get, put it in front of me, like make it an easy choice. Like, don't let me get in your way, just usually a unicorn will pop right out at the right time when I'm looking for a vehicle, and it just fits. It's the right one. Every time I go looking for a vehicle, if I just be patient and wait for that one to jump right out in front of me, it usually does. As long as I'm not like in a hurry and trying to rush the process, I will be anxious to get a car, but I'll make sure that, I try to find, you're always taking a risk when you buy a used car. So it's like, but for example, I found a Ford Focus, and it wasn't the race I don't know what the race version is, the souped up, fun one, but it was like a step below that, but it only had 60,000 miles on it. And it was in very good condition. And the guy's description had listed all of he says he bought it brand new, single owner, has every service record, meticulous detail and all that. And so I looked this up as part of my research, and it was saying that it was absolutely don't do it. It's a horrible car, unreliable. You're going to have to replace the transmission every 50,000 miles. It's a dual clutch transmission, which on the surface sounds nice, but for some reason these Ford dual clutch transmissions are bad. And in the guy's description, it said he had replaced the transmission clutches at 54,000 miles, and it matched right up with what Grok said would happen. And I'm like, so this guy, he must have just got out of the warranty period for his car, and he's like, I got to get rid of this thing because now I'm going to have to pay for it to get fixed. But it looked like it was meticulously cared for, and it was a nice looking car. It was in perfect condition. And the guy said he had all the service records and everything. And I'm like that with a vehicle. I'll keep every receipt of everything, every oil change, everything I do to a vehicle, I keep it in a folder. So I'll at least know my history of it. And I do that for my own purpose, not just for resale value, but I just, I want to know. When did I replace? You get a part, you replace a part, it comes with a warranty, the repair. You got to keep those records just in case. So, this Ford, out of all the cars, I told Grok, I gave it like 5 or 6 cars, and I said rank them in the order of the most reliable to the least reliable and some other factors. And it put the Ford Focus at the bottom, even though it had like low mileage. The only one other than that was a Fiat 500, but it was a sporty Fiat 500 stick shift with a little bit better engine or whatever, but said that car is horrible, don't do it. Would you get another Jeep? Yeah. I would have a 2-door Wrangler. I would never get a 4-door Wrangler because I started talking about this and then I got sidetracked. The 2-door Wranglers are underpowered. They got a V6 and they're not powerful. If you have a 6-speed, 5th and 6th gear are basically for driving on flat roads where you just don't want to burn gasoline by riding in 4th gear. So you can keep the RPMs really low, but you have no power. As soon as you start going uphill in the slightest, you got to downshift to at least 4th gear. The 4-door Jeeps are way heavier. Same engine. I couldn't imagine enjoying having one of those to drive. The 2-door Jeep was fine when I put the hard top on. I got an extra 20 miles an hour top speed out of it. But it's like driving a brick wall into the wind. It's like doing a wind tunnel test with a brick wall when you drive one of those. The Jeep Wrangler, it went anywhere I pointed that thing. I mean, that thing, the JK is a good Jeep. I've had many Jeeps. I had a Liberty. I didn't like it. I didn't like it, but it wasn't the most unreliable. Things would always break on it that shouldn't break. I had a mid-90s Cherokee, probably the most bomb-proof vehicle I ever owned. You could not make that thing die. You couldn't. You could try to kill that vehicle and you wouldn't be able to. I had an early 90s Wrangler, but it was a mess. And I got rid of it really fast because it had tons of problems. But it was a project Jeep more than, I don't think it was Jeep's fault. The Wrangler that I had, the 2-door Wrangler, I loved that vehicle. I never had a problem with it. The worst thing that ever happened to that was squirrels chewed my ignition coil, and I had to drive home with 2 cylinders not firing. I limped it home and it didn't flood. It didn't mess it up. I drove it to the mechanic like that. Mechanic was like, you shouldn't have been driving it like that. I'm like, I know, but I'm broke. So I just did it. And he goes, okay, well, we'll see what's up. Calls me back an hour later. He goes, here's what was wrong. We fixed it. You're good to go. Scotty Kilmer says a Mazda CX-5 is the used car to buy. I had a Ford Probe a long time ago. That was a Mazda with a Ford logo on it. Really reliable car. Really reliable. They have clutch issues. I had to replace the hydraulic cylinder to the clutch a couple times, but it was back then that was like a $300 job. Other than that, never had a problem with it. Scotty Kilmer says avoid CVT transmissions and direct injection engines with either turbos or active cylinder management. So no, I won't get a CVT. They suck. The concept is nice for a CVT. I think race cars like Formula One and stuff like that will have CVT. And, I think that the technology is nice, but they suck. It's like having a rubber band as a transmission for your vehicle. It's going to snap. They're problematic. Every CVT sucks. Dual clutch is better, but I think a dual clutch transmission is better than an automatic, but it's a newer technology. And like I was saying, that Ford Focus the dual clutch is horrible. If you're getting one of those Ford Focuses, get a manual, because if you get the dual clutch, you'll be sorry. And I definitely don't want one of those vehicles that shut off when you come to a stop at an intersection, and then the vehicle turns off, and then when you hit the gas pedal, it turns back on. I won't. No. I definitely don't want one of those. How long is your starter going to last on that? I think those are the dumbest thing I've ever seen. The mechanics hate them. Let's see. I saw the coolest custom-made 3-wheeled motorcycle the other day. Blue Sky said, I have 2 Chevy Cruzes, one with turbo, and yeah, Scotty is telling the truth. I had a Mini Cooper with a with a supercharger. They switched to turbo after a few years, but the original BMW Mini Coopers, the ones that are in that movie, The Italian Job, they're supercharged, and they make the most awesome noise when you drive. They're just like wee wee, they sound awesome. And that car was so damn fast. It was like driving a go-kart that can go 130 miles an hour. That car was so much fun to drive, but I was just waiting for the day that the supercharger dies. It never happened when I owned it for 6 years. I wasn't too abusive with my car, but I definitely got my fun out of it for sure. I was going to take it to Watkins Glen and drive it on the racetrack, because I needed to. We had the same vehicle in Forza Motorsport on the Xbox, and so I was going to get the fastest time I could in the Mini Cooper S 2003 on Watkins Glen in the video game, and then go up to Watkins Glen with the actual car and see if I can beat my time with the real car on the real track. But then I had to sell the car, and I never got around to it. But I was going to do it. Let's see. Oh, Jared Smith says, I hate that crap. I always turn that function off. So, yeah, I know a lot of those vehicles, you can turn that off so that they don't stop and start at the traffic lights and intersection. I know some vehicles, from what I'm told, you have to turn it off every time you get in the car and drive. I just don't even want that. So like a stick shift would really appeal to me, because I don't think they have stick shifts like that, do they? If they do, Toyota CVTs have a launch gear in them. That's fine. I'll get a manual and launch it myself. They drive smooth, always dealing with something strange after having 3 Toyotas. I know multiple people who've had CVT transmissions and they like them, how they drive, but they wear out prematurely and they constantly have problems and they're real expensive to fix. So it's like when the technology gets better, maybe that'll be something to do. Maybe that'll be a viable option someday. They've already talked about, so the Pikes Peak challenge where they race cars up Pikes Peak in Colorado. I think the record holder for the Pikes Peak hill climb now is was a electric. I want to say maybe it was whatever it was. It had a CVT transmission in it, and that's part of the reason why it was so fast, because with all the curves and turns and everything, it handled it like butter. So they're saying that race cars will eventually have them CVT, but I've never heard anybody who owned a CVT transmission tell me that they would do it again. So all I ever hear are the problems. And so I'm like, yeah. I mean, it's gotten to the point where even a manual stick shift transmission, when you need a new clutch, they're charging $2,000-$3,000 to replace the clutches now. I mean, getting a new clutch used to be like a $500 job back when I was like in my 20s. Now I was told when my Mini Cooper, on cold days, my Mini Cooper would start, it made this noise that sounded like Chewbacca. Every time I put it in first gear and slip the clutch a little bit, you'd hear, just like Chewbacca. I mean, it sounded just like Chewbacca. You can Google this. You can go, Mini Cooper sounds like Chewbacca, and you'll read all about it. It's just wear on the clutch pads and surface, and it just, when it's cold out, it makes that noise. Doesn't mean that your clutch is bad, but when I looked into it, I reached out to my mechanic. I said, how much would it cost to replace the clutch in my Mini? He's like, about $2,000. I'm like, get out of here. $2,000 for a clutch? And then I asked him, what about my Wrangler? About $2,000. I'm like, get out of here. So I think it's just, Bidenomics, inflation, your dollar being worth 10 cents, all that kind of stuff. JS says, if CVT were so good, why aren't trucks equipped with it? It has an HP limit. No sports car will have one. That's not true. Some sports cars do. But when you got that much money, if they made a Ferrari with a CVT, I don't think they do, but if they did, the person who bought it is gonna be able to afford a new one. So, but like I said, some race cars do have them because it's not having to shift gears, that split second that you save in time and power transfer and the power curves and all the science behind it. It's faster than any other kind of transmission, especially on any race course that has curves where you have to slow down and speed up and slow down and speed up. It handles that better. So, but most race cars are one-day builds. Formula One, they pretty much build a new engine for every race. Like they're not going to give a crap about having to put in a new CVT for every weekend race, if F1 went that direction. JS says, see ya. This was fun. Keep us updated about the membership and all that. Thank you for the stream. Thank you for coming. Appreciate that. It's been 2 hours. I got a couple more minutes to hang. I ate before I started this stream, so I'm not hungry. I'm just thirsty now. I feel like I can talk for a couple minutes, but I'm going to have to take off pretty soon. This is definitely fun. I enjoy doing the streams. If anybody, so here's one. If there's anybody that wants to get on live video, I have a tutorial on how to turn on Zoom to stream a YouTube stream from a Zoom meeting. It seems like it's pretty easy to do. You just got to connect the two apps together. And there's like a 15-second delay between the Zoom meeting and the actual YouTube stream. And the YouTube people can't interact with Zoom unless they're logged into Zoom. But it is an easy way that I could have other people be on the video. So if, like, for whatever reason you want to get on and talk to everybody and have a conversation, I've got people that I want to have on as guests, and a live stream would be a good time to do that. And I'll probably do it with Zoom because it's easier to control from. I think it's easier to access from a phone or any computer. And from what I've seen so far, it's easier to, you can control it easier, and you can do different things with it. Upcoming guests, I just have ideas of who I want to ask. I don't have anybody slotted in. I think I just got to get past this hump that I'm like, after I get a car, I think I'll have more time on my hands. Somebody was saying earlier in the comments, it's scrolled away from me. One in the pink says, have you thought about joining a bike group to ride with on your days off, or would you rather just relax? So if I have a car, I would start going on bike rides for fun. I would still ride my bike to the bakery, but I wouldn't do it every time. And I would probably change my schedule at the bakery a little bit and maybe work some night shifts, because that wouldn't bother me so much. And it's fun to work there at night. And I can bring home giant boxes of cookies, even though that's not good for my diet. There's benefits to it, though. I would do it. I would make my schedule a little bit easier. And I would ride my bike for fun. And I would still do the bike ride to the bakery because it is fun. I don't like it before I leave the house, and I only like it when I'm on the bike. But I know this, so somebody I watch on here does Bible study in her membership group. Yeah, we talked about that for a minute. I don't want to have like a paid membership to go to Bible study. It just don't vibe with me, but I would do the Bible study just like this, just open. Whoever wants to come. But at Sundays, what's happening is I go to this bakery on Saturday, and Sunday I'm a train wreck. Last Sunday, the week before, bad, like really bad. Monday is bad, or Tuesday is bad too, energy wise. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I'm usually pretty peppy, but my body's just starting to, the trauma and the abuse I've put my body through. I walked over 530 miles in Jamestown last year, and I rode my bike 500 miles last year, and I rode my bike over 3,000 miles this year. And it's just starting to wear me down. And so I just need a break. And so when I get a car, there's going to be a little bit of time to just recover and chill. Hopefully I get a car that doesn't need to go to the shop for a month or two, at least. Modern cars are usually all right, but I've had good experiences. The last bad car I owned was a Pontiac Grand Am, and I forget what year, like a 1990s Pontiac Grand Am GT. It sucked. Worst car I've ever owned in my life. Every vehicle I've owned since then has been pretty good. I would say the Mini Cooper was the least reliable of any car I've owned since. And the Mini Cooper really wasn't bad. It never broke down on me to where I couldn't get somewhere. But it was a 20-year-old car when I got rid of it, or just about 20 years. It was a 2003, and I got rid of it in 2002. So it was 19 years old when I bought it. maybe 20 if it was bought in 2002. And so when I looked at the total cost of repairs for that car and ownership, I had a spreadsheet for all my vehicles. So I knew what I paid for the vehicle. I knew what I paid the bank in interest on the loan, if there was a loan. And I knew every repair and oil change that went into the vehicle. So I know exactly what it costs to own. And the Mini Cooper was the least of all three of the vehicles I owned at the time. I paid like $5,000 for it. I took out a loan for like $3,000. I put like $1,000 down and took out a loan for $4,000, and then I paid it off over. It was a 3-year loan. I paid it off in like 2, so I know what I paid in interest. And then I replaced the whole exhaust system, and I did a couple other repairs and upgrades to it, and then just the normal, tires, brakes, normal things. I had to replace the glove box, things like just stupid things. And the whole cost of ownership that I owned that Mini Cooper for 6 years, the whole entire cost of ownership was less than what the Wrangler cost when I bought the Wrangler. Now, I bought the Wrangler for $17,000, and it was 8 years old, but it had 20,000 miles on it. And it had been in someone's garage for 8 years, only taken out for fun during the summer. It looked like it was brand new on the show. It looked like a showroom brand new Jeep. And so yeah, Angels was talking about members. So I got this thing from YouTube saying if I turn on memberships, they'll give me $600, and then they give me $6 for every member that becomes a member for the first 30 days up to 100 members. So I could get $1,200 from them. And so I was like, I'm thinking I'll just flip the switch and turn it on whether people want to be members or not. I guess this is a normal thing that they do from time to time when people reach a certain threshold on their channel or whatever. And it seems legit. I looked into this. There's Reddit forums about it. There's YouTube videos about it. And like after I sign up, I should see, like I should get paid out in September for if I do it by the end of the month. I assume that it would happen. I'd get the money in September. But I was asking earlier in the video, like, what would be worthwhile to have a membership for? And, all the normal things that people do, like exclusive videos that are for members only, or a live stream for members only. And the out of the box thing that other than the normal stuff that you see other people do on YouTube, the other thing that, that I thought of that was out of the box would be like a photo of the month club, where you pay I don't know what it would have to be, because for me at the photo lab, the biggest expense is the shipping versus the prints. So I'd have to come up with a print size that would work for this, and then combined with the shipping, and then YouTube takes 30% of whatever you make. So I'd have to account for that. And it has to be the right price or people aren't going to want to do it. And so I think that's a thing. So you reminded me of something, Angels in Our Midst. Just wait till the bike people want you to review their products. You can talk more crap. So I got invited from Amazon to this thing called the Vine program. And they give you products for free to review. And you have a certain amount of time to review them. But there's like a whole catalog of stuff. All you got to do is request it, and they send it to you. And then and you get $10.99 at the end of the year. So it counts as income. So if you get the first day that I was on it, all I saw was junk. There was nothing in there that I would want to try out or review. I went there earlier today before the live stream, and under the bicycling stuff, they had some knockoff Shimano SPD cleats for bike shoes, and I need a set of those for a pair of bike shoes. I just bought a pair of bike shoes that are like sneakers. I got them for $15. And so they had some knockoff, they weren't genuine Shimano cleats, but for these $15 shoes that I just bought, they're perfect. I ordered them. They were free. I just said, yeah, send them to me. I'll review them. So I'm going to, they're going to be here tomorrow. Same shipping time as any Amazon order. So I'm getting a free set of SPD cleats tomorrow that I can put on a pair of bike shoes I just bought. And then I can wear these bike shoes a couple of times to work, and I can say whether they're good or not, put up a review, take a couple pictures and whatnot. They might be junk, but they were free. I mean, free-ish. So do you think it's worth their time if they're shadow banning you, or you just liking it? Do it and give us the dish behind the scenes, dish on Vine. I never did the YouTube channel for money. I became homeless. My best friend was like, you should document this. I didn't expect anybody would even watch it, to be honest. So I did it, and it started getting thousands of views right away. And it was crazy. And I was like, whoa, I was kind of floored by it. And so the money wasn't, it's not like I'm making a lot of money, and they've got my subscription capped since last September. I haven't gained a single subscriber because I'm shadow banned, and all of that. And, but the reason I keep doing it is because all these good things keep coming out of it. Not just money, payday. It's not about a payday. It's like there's a whole bunch of things, like all the stuff that's happening in my life right now. A lot of it has to do with having done these videos. Like the client that I'm doing work for, 2 of the clients that I have for my freelance business are a direct result of having done these videos on YouTube. And so there's ways that this improved my life that don't have anything to do with making money off of it. And so it never was about that. But if you're going to put time in on something like this, it would be nice to make a living off of it if I could someday. Angels in Our Midst says, I know you hate shorts, but just try 1 or 2, be humorous. Oh, I got no problem with shorts. I get addicted. I scroll through that crap, and I got the short attention span here and there. I don't hate them. I'm not a big fan of TikTok, but it's kind of, it is what it is. It's a certain, short attention span theater. I got plenty of stuff in my videos that I could chop up into shorts. It all boils down to how much time I have. I have time to sit in front of a camera and just talk for a bit and push a button and upload it and do the bare minimum amount of work to get it up there. But I don't really have time to sit and do editing. Like some of the editing that goes into those shorts is more complicated than shooting an hour-long video where you just talk. It doesn't seem like it, but it can be. So it's just time. It's just how many things in the world I want to do and not as much time to do it. I feel like I could rack up some views on the shorts because I could cut up some stuff. I could take an hour-long video I've done and find 2 minutes worth of stuff and chop it all up. And I know it would have an effect. So I know there's things I can do. It's just time. If I had all day to sit here and do all this stuff, I would. So your suggestions don't go no, you're in the alignment with things I would like to do. It's just time. It just boils down to time. And so I think it'll find its way out. I'll find a way to get things. I'll find a way to make things move along. Um, Getting a car will be, I talked about the 5 leveling ups. The first level was getting out of prison and being in a toxic environment. We'll leave it there. Level 2 was being homeless, which was the environment was so toxic. And level 1 that being homeless was an upgrade. Going from having a place to live to being homeless, you wouldn't think, but it was an upgrade. I remember about a week into being homeless, I was like, man, this wasn't so bad. This ain't so bad. This is a lot better than what I was doing with a couple weeks ago. And so that was that. Then we've got level 3, which was moving into my friend's house down in Houston. Big level up there. But I had to get out of there for everybody needed their sanity back. And it wasn't like we weren't getting along. It was just that it's a stressful thing for everybody. It was stressful for my friend, his wife, me. It was a big house. We had a lot of room. It wasn't a big, they had a nice guest room and everything, but I had to get my own place. So moving into the tool shed was level 4. That started out all right for about a month, maybe 2. And then April 3rd came along and that all went downhill fast. And then moving into where I'm in now is level 5. And it's been so nice here overall. I've had some insect issues. That's about it. And I'm just tired. Like it's the decompression of all the stress that I was under for 3 to 6 years is kind of like hitting me all at once right now. And I'm feeling it. Like I could go to bed right now and sleep for 8 days. No problem. I could lay in bed for 8 days. If I get a bed after I get a car or, whatever order it happens in, I might just lay in bed for 3 days and never get out of bed. I don't know. I don't think I can, but it's that decompression is just like I'm feeling like now my body's like, oh my God, you can finally relax. So it's time to go to sleep. And that's what I feel like lately. And so that's like the next level. I don't find it ironic that my phone, this, you can see how do I hold it up? I can't. You can see right there where the phone is coming away from the body. It's because the battery inside swelled up, turned into like a battery balloon. And I had to jump on it and get a new phone, which I have, and I'm setting it up and I'm transitioning over to it. But that happened on Friday, a week ago from last Friday. So it's almost 2 weeks ago tomorrow. And then the very next day, I get that letter in the mail saying all this money's coming my way. And like, it's symbolic because I'm on my friend's family plan. My best friend, the one I lived with here in Houston, my phone is under his family plan and it's his old phone. He has a bunch of phones. He used to work for T-Mobile. And so he sent me one of his old phones. He goes, here's a phone. Put it on my family plan. You're good. Just, let me know when you can get on your own. And so when this phone started to die, I'm like, I guess it's time. So I went and got my own plan and got my own phone like a big boy. And now I'm getting all this money to go get a car. And it happened boom, boom at the same time. And I'm like, that must be level 6. Like breaking free from financial dependence on other people, along with just, even though it was a phone, he's paying like $25 a month to be on a family plan, but it's symbolic. And then getting a car to get all this stuff happening at the same time. It's like, oh, you're leveling up. That's level 6. And it's been a little bit stressful for the last couple of weeks. I've had to make a lot of stressful phone calls and customer service and arguing with people, and like it hasn't been like smooth, but it's going along, and it's kind of cool. And it did just kind of fall out of the sky. Like Blue Sky said, you're the second person I know who has surprise money coming in. Both times it's like Holy Spirit glory coming through. And there's one side of it where I'm like, if I would have known that money was there when I came out of prison, I would have never been homeless. I wouldn't have been homeless. I would have been able to go get a place to live. But I'm not bitter about that. I'm looking at it like, well, I guess God had a reason for making me go through everything I've been through in the last year or so, and meeting the people that I've met and going on this specific path, because he's got something that he wants me to do. And if that money would have just been in my hands on day one, the path wouldn't have been, I wouldn't have walked down this path to get here. So I'm looking at it like there's probably a reason why it happened the way it did. But that money has been sitting there. I could have gotten it. I could have logged into this account and taken that money at any point in time between the day I got out of prison and today. I just never knew it was there. And that's it's not killing me, but it's like, whoa, it's like strange to know that was always there. Like, oh man, when you look at like all that I've been through that I didn't have to go through. But things like that can happen for a reason, and maybe the money will be put. It actually does kind of feel good that I can use that money to go buy a car instead of using that money to survive. Because if I had that money in my hands back in April last year, I would have been using that money to survive. And I would have just been scraping by, and the money would have ran out, and I would have had nothing to show for it except for a few months of survival. And who knows what would have happened. I couldn't get a job. Nothing was going my way. And so I don't know how it would have ended up. I wouldn't have been able to get a car because I would have been just surviving off of that money as long as I could. And it would have been maybe 3 to 6 months max, depending on, how frugal I could be. And then it would have been gone, and then what? But now I built up through the grace of God, because I didn't get here on my own, the help of others, and I'm here now able to survive on my own in this place where I am right now, month to month to month. And now this money's showing up, and now I can actually use it to go get a car or do something and have something to show for it. And so it kind of makes sense that he would make me wait until I got on my feet with his help and with the help of whoever else. A lot of people helped me get here. It wasn't just me. It wasn't just God. People came in the path. I've been helped a lot to get here. I recognize that. I didn't do it on my own. And so now that I'm here and I'm kind of I've got roots kind of planted a little bit of a foundation at this point. All of a sudden I'm here. And now, like I said, I can take this money and do something productive with it that'll have a long-term effect, having a car, and that car can unlock more. It's like a key that can unlock more doors. Now I can go get a job somewhere, better paying job, man, go work in a warehouse or something and make 20. If I can find a job making 20 something an hour, working somewhere, doing some labor, whatever, part-time, that just unlocks opportunities. Angels is asking, do your kids know you have this channel? Don't answer if I'm being too nosy. No, they know, but they don't care. If that matters. I don't think nobody I know really, as far as I'm aware, nobody I know watches this. But I'll tell you what, when I started the channel in Jamestown, within about a month, everybody where I grew up knew about it. and they were passing it around because I was people were reaching out to me from my past, from my like growing up past, saying, "Hey, I heard you're homeless because I saw you on YouTube," and somebody saw it and started passing it around to everybody I grew up with. So everybody saw that I was homeless, wandering around, and they already knew I'd been in prison. And everybody, I grew up in a small town, so everybody knows everything about everybody. And that one person finds out something like that, everybody knows about it an hour later. So somebody found out I'm homeless, hour later, everybody knows I'm homeless. So I was getting like random people reaching out to me. But no, I don't think my kids give a shit about watching the channel. It don't matter. I'm not doing it for them. So I think it's a little bit ambitious, but my son's birthday is coming up. It would be nice to go up there and see him for his birthday, but I don't think I'm going to have I don't think it's going to be, I don't think it'll be possible. But mid-September, maybe. I don't know. I got to get the car first, go from there. What else? So the other, like, small town gossip, Jamestown's full of small town gossip in New York. People in town, my videos started getting play in Jamestown. People were, the person who ran the homeless shelter called me into her office one day. She's like, "I didn't know you were on YouTube." She goes, "Everybody's passing your channel around." And it started that day that I recorded that fight in the McDonald's where everybody got into a brawl in the McDonald's there. And I guess it went Jamestown viral. It was getting passed all over town. And then people were like passing my videos around and stuff because they thought, that it was funny or whatever. And, well, my ex owns a business there. So everybody knows everybody, and everybody knew my business. And I'm not kidding first of all, I would get random people telling me about her and things going on with her that I didn't want to hear. But because of small town gossip, they're like, "Oh, you might want to know. Oh, did you hear about?" And I'm like, "No, I didn't," because I'm not trying to. And I would hear all this stuff because so-and-so knows so-and-so. So-and-so wants you to know that this and that. And it was gossip hell. Some random guy at the homeless shelter came up to me and goes, "Oh, your name is such and such. I know my sister's neighbor goes to your ex's business, is one of her customers, and knows all this stuff about you, and I know everything about you." And I'm like, "Oh, that's good. What's your name again?" It was like that. It was like that in Jamestown. So it was nice to get out of there because I would walk around town and everybody's looking at me like, "Oh, he's that guy," and they know everything about me. They know my name. They know who my ex was. They know what I did. They know I was in prison. They know everything about me. I don't even know who you are. I don't know your name. I've never seen you before. I've never talked to you before, but you all know me. And so it's nice being in Houston where I'm just kind of anonymous and I can just be me. I could just be, and nobody gives a crap who I am, or I can walk around town and nobody's like, "Hey, it's that guy," and none of that. I don't have to deal with that anymore. If you used to take the car trips and camp with your son, why can't he come visit you? He can get a new bed and he can use your camp cot. Yeah, he could. But it's 1,500 miles to come here. So, and after I get a car, if he could fly down here, I can go get him at the airport. He's old enough to fly. So yeah, these are all things. Believe me, I'm thinking about the possibilities regularly now that there's like a light at the end of this tunnel. And so, but I don't know how I don't know what's going to happen, when or where or how, but it's nice to know that it's there. And I feel really good about that. I'm tired. I'm tired as hell, but there's a lot of good stuff coming. And my biggest battle right now that I'm fighting is trying to reclaim my time, reclaim my energy, and get more work done because there's money on the table for me in all kinds of ways. I just have to get the energy and time to get it. It's like right there. It's right there. I could just get it. But I'm so burned out and tired. And the bakery job and other reasons are wearing me down. So that's part of leveling up right now. That's the boss of the level I'm on. I talk about how every time you're about to level up, you got to fight some boss to get past the level into the, like, that's my boss right now. The last one was the slumlord was the boss. Before that, there was another boss in Jamestown. Probation was the boss. I had to figure out how to get probation to let me get out of Jamestown. Before I was homeless, there was another, the level wasn't the boss of me, but a boss of the level, the monster that you have to beat to get to the next level. There was a boss of the first level. I had to, like, it's like Sonic the Hedgehog. You got to collect all the rings, and then you got to go bash into the boss until the boss finally drops. And so each time I level up, there's some battle that goes on before the leveling up. And then I level up, and it's chill for a bit, and then it starts to get hard, and then you get to a point where it gets really hard, and you're about to get to the next level. You just got to get past this boss at the end of the level. And so she's saying kids don't care. He'd love it. Leveling. That's not the issue. That's not the issue at all. He can come down here. I would like to have a place where he could live. Where there's enough space where he can have his own room and live with me. He might actually like that and I don't want to get into the reasons why. It's not like he has a bad life with his mom, but I don't think he would mind living with his dad. But I can't do it unless my life is a little bit more together. But if it's what God wants me to do, he'll make it happen. He'll make a way for it to come. He'll make it happen. Whether it's me going to Pittsburgh or me staying here, I don't know. I don't know what's supposed to happen, but I'm trying to let go of controlling everything and just let him figure it out. I have ideas, but same thing when I get this car, I'm going to get the money. I'm not just going to wait for a car to fall out of the sky, even though, like, there kind of is one in California I could reach out to the guy about. But if I really want to go look at a car face to face and take it on a test drive and, make sure it's all good and I don't see oil drips and, and it hasn't been just detailed to cover up all the problems. And you know what I mean? Like, I'm pretty good at inspecting a car to purchase. You aren't going to catch everything. Every time I buy a vehicle, I get home and a couple days later, I'm like, oh, I didn't notice that. Oops, I should have paid attention to that. You just don't. You don't see it all. But that's the next thing I'm focused on. It's trying to get a vehicle that is, I'm not trying to be like picky about what vehicle it is. I think, I just think it needs to be the right vehicle that God wants me to drive. Like, reliable, doesn't cost a ton of money in repairs. Like, it's the vehicle. I don't want to take out a loan. So whatever the budget is, that's what it's going to be. I mean, yeah, I could go and buy a nice vehicle that's much newer and then get stuck paying a loan and then run into a situation where I can't make the payments and then I'm screwed and I lose everything. I'd rather just own it outright. And so I just got to make sure I get the right thing and just do, don't be in a hurry, be willing to walk away if the deal's not right, all those things, all the useful advice. So, but yeah, thanks for coming. I still got 11 people in the room and, still got a lot of active participants and all that. So, I've never owned a new car. Angels says used cars are fine. I've never owned a new car. My whole life, I've never bought a brand new car. Um, I'm lucky. I always find a unicorn. I always find some really awesome vehicle that's like either almost brand new or just something where it's like, wow, how did you get that deal? I've had a couple of bad vehicles in my life. I had a early 90s Wrangler that was terrible. I didn't even keep it for 6 months. It was done. And I had a Pontiac Grand Am GT that I had for a while, and I owned it for at least 3 years, but the repair bills became more per month than a car payment. So I got rid of it. Every other vehicle I've ever owned, and I've owned a few, has been good to me. I've not had, and I'm much better now. The Grand Am I rushed into, I bought it. I felt like it was like I saw it on the side of the road and I'm like, ooh, and I went in and bought it. It was like that. And then when I drove it off the lot, I went by another dealership on my way home and there was like an almost brand new looking Wrangler sitting in I would have been able to buy it. And I was like, man, I wish I'd seen that on my way home. And because Wranglers are great when you live in Pittsburgh and the roads are total garbage and it snows. The roads in Pittsburgh are terrible. It beat the living snot. If you drive a car, your lifespan of your car is about half what it should be because the roads are so bad, full of potholes. Like the roads destroy cars there. So if you have a Jeep or a pickup truck or something with four-wheel drive and suspension, you're fine. Your vehicle will last forever. But if you drive a car that's low to the ground, forget it. You're going to get half the life. New cars, track your data and share it with the insurance companies. Yeah. And that's the other thing too. Like I got to find an insurance company I'm not going to put one of them trackers in my car. So I don't know. I haven't had insurance for a few years. So the car insurance companies are going to treat me like I'm a 15-year-old kid with 3 DUIs who just got insurance for the first time. And they're probably going to want to charge me like 10 grand a year for car insurance. I don't know what to expect there. I have no idea what to expect for car insurance right now. It's probably I don't even want to think about it. It's probably not worth worrying about right now. Angel said, I love Toyotas, but I took my son's Jeep last year. Some Jeeps are good, some aren't. I've had good luck and bad luck. My Wrangler, my yellow JK Wrangler, my 2008 Wrangler was awesome. Loved it till the day I got rid of it. Never really planned on getting rid of it. My mid-90s Cherokee was the best, most reliable thing, bulletproof tank I ever owned. So I would stay away from the Liberties. You don't even really see them anymore because they were so bad. I would say that Cherokees, the Compass, piece of junk, the Commander, the Patriot. The Patriot basically replaced the XJ Cherokees. They look about the same. And then the Cherokee went to they turned into soccer mom vehicles. I wouldn't get any of it. The only Jeep I would get at this point is a 2-door Wrangler. I'm not interested in any other Jeep. Some of the Cherokees are nice and souped up and off-roady, but most of them are for soccer moms in the suburbs, and they're not reliable. My 2008 Suzuki X4 costs me $320 a year for insurance. That's pretty cool. I have 3 vehicles, and I paid like $100 a month for car insurance, full coverage on all 3. And then I got rid of the Mini Cooper, and my insurance went down like $20-25 a month. So it was less than $100 a month. But at this point, I know that when I was younger, I didn't have insurance for like 6 months because I had a car get stolen and I didn't replace it. And when I went to try and get insurance again, they wanted $6,000 per year. And that was the cheapest I could get. Divided by 12, $500 a month for car insurance per month. When the car payment on the car that I wanted to buy was going to be like $350, but they wanted $500 a month for insurance, and I couldn't get the car. And I couldn't get insurance any cheaper than that. And eventually I ended up getting, somebody gave me a Toyota Tercel that was like a 1984 Toyota Tercel, and I got liability insurance on it, and it was like 100 and something a month. And after 6 months of having continuous insurance coverage, then I could go get car insurance at a normal person price. But because because I had gone 6 months to a year without insurance, they use that as, the car insurance companies are just looking for 50 different reasons to jack up your rate. And so they used that as a reason to jack up my rate. Oh, you haven't had continuous coverage. You had 6 months with it. Wasn't like I didn't owe the insurance company money. I didn't lose my license. I lost my car because it had been stolen. And when I got the car back, it was destroyed. And it took me 6 months to get around to getting another car. Pittsburgh has good public transit. And so I wanted a new car, but I just took time to get one. And when I went to get one, all of a sudden the car insurance companies wouldn't touch me. They're like, oh, you haven't had car insurance for 6 months. That means you're a risk. That means we can charge you $5,000 a year now. Oh, and they use your credit rating. Anything they can do to jack you up and rape you for car insurance. It's going to get to the point where they look at what you eat. They're going to be like, well, we need to see your MyFitnessPal records so we can see what you eat every day. And we need access to your bank account so we can see how you spend your money. Do you own guns? Do you have guns in your, well, if you have a gun in your house, we're going to charge you a surcharge for owning a gun. They'll do whatever they can do. Whatever they can get away with, they'll do. And the thing is, like you're saying, they're using your credit score. They're not allowed to. In some states, they're not even allowed to do that, and they don't care. They just do it anyway. There's laws against some of the stuff that they do, but there's no enforcement. So the law can be whatever it is, but if nobody enforces the law, they just don't care. They're going to do it anyway. And it all has to do with all of these big companies now are owned by one company, BlackRock, and these big investment firms. So BlackRock owns every freaking bank, every insurance company, every Fortune 500. They own everything. So you've got this guy, basically you've got this one guy, Larry Fink, and a couple of other Vanguard and some other investment firms that basically own 5 to 10% of every company in America. And so you've got like 2 or 3 dudes that can make all the decisions for how all the companies operate. I looked into T-Mobile, Verizon, and AT&T. BlackRock owns between 5 and 10% of all 3 of the phone companies. So when you wonder why AT&T sucks, so you try to sign up for Verizon and they suck just the same, and then T-Mobile sucks just as bad as the other 2, and it's basically like there's a monopoly, but there's 3 different companies, but they all act like they're just one monopoly. That's why, because they're owned, all 3 of them are owned by the same people. And don't get me started on. I'll full disclosure. I had BlackRock as a client when I was in the mid 2000s. I did work for them. Nothing too important, but like dumbass eye candy motion graphics and stuff like that would be on the projection screen when you walk into one of their conferences and stuff. And I know a little bit about stuff like that. I worked for the big banks. I worked for payment processing companies. I know inside information about stuff like that, and it's just nothing but fucking evil. I'm just straight up. I'm glad that I mean, it's almost a good thing that I can't go and get a job. I could go work for Exxon. They have their corporate headquarters right down the street. And I'm like, do I really want to go work for a company I pass their headquarters every day on my way to work to the bakery, and I'm seeing all the corporate drones pulling into the drive. It's got a gate, it's got a fence all the way around it, and there's like multiple entrances. And when I see the corporates going in and out of the entrance, I'm like, have fun killing the seagulls today. Good luck. You know what I mean? How many seagulls you guys gonna kill today? How many ducks? Should I buy stock in Dawn dish detergent this week? Are you gonna cover the beach in oil? Because Dawn dish detergent stock will go up through the roof if you do another oil spill, and they got to clean up all the birds. Yeah, do I want to go work for a company like that? They won't hire me because I have a criminal record now. If I didn't have a criminal record, I'd be making like 200 grand a year working for a company like that. Another company in Houston hired me. I'm not going to say the name. Another big company you'd all know the name of, and they hired me. And then 2 days later, you're not hired because you got a criminal record. But it would have been 160 grand a year. And so I don't, God, I've gone on 180 bicycle rides, and God won't let my feet get wet. He answers my prayer time and time again about there's all kinds of prayers that get answered all the time. He won't let me get a job in my line of work ever again. I don't think it'll be ever again. So I'm not super sad about that. I don't like working for these scumbag corporations. I really, it's kind of sucks, because if I could get a job like that, my money problems would be fine. In 2 paychecks, I'd be able to fix all my financial problems in one shot. But at the same time, I would have these golden handcuffs on me, and I'd be tied to that corporate desk working for these scumbag companies like BlackRock, and I would be conflicted at that point. Like, why am I using my God-given talent to help these evil people enslave the world? Where, now I have the freedom to do freelance work for good people that I like. All the work that I'm doing for people are people that are worth working for. So I just feel like it's supposed to be this way for whatever reason, and God's not going to make it easy, because the easy way is, going back to suck Satan's cock. For it to be, to be rude about it or crass about it. God doesn't want me to just go suck Satan's cock to make 6 figures again. He's going to make me work a little bit harder for something more rewarding. And that's the way I feel about it. So I've pretty much given up trying to find a job in my line of work, unless something shows up at like a startup company or a software company that won't care about my criminal record, like a startup, and something that like makes me feel good about working there at the end of the day, instead of, helping Exxon, kill a bunch of swans, cover them with oil, or another, pollute the ocean again when an oil rig explodes. So Scott's saying you need someone to help you get in. It don't matter. That criminal record is there. They don't give a shit. There's no going. There's DoorDash won't even let me deliver food to someone's house on a bicycle because of the criminal record. Like the McDonald's won't. Like nothing that's an actual corporation. And the reason why is Larry Fink and BlackRock owns every company now. And they set the policy, you can't hire anybody with a criminal record, so nobody will. That's why you go apply at a job at McDonald's, they're going to do a criminal background check to flip burgers at a freaking McDonald's now. So the only way I can work for somebody is to meet somebody face to face, one on one, and it's going to have to be a small business where they either people think I'm cool because of what I did, and I'm not proud of what I did, but some people hear what I did and they're like, "Man, you're cool." Like, okay, yeah, I don't feel like I'm that cool. You wouldn't want to go through what I went through. Can you get your record expunged after you're done? Okay, so here's what's happening now. I'm not getting any help from Donald Trump. Here's why. I've got at least, I can't name names, between 3 and 5 cases now that I've picked up on just in the last few months, where the Trump administration has sent the FBI to people's houses to do the same exact thing they did to me because so and so posted a tweet, posted something on Twitter, posted something on YouTube, posted something on Facebook about wanting to hurt Donald Trump or kill Donald Trump, or just, the liberal rant. So now they're arresting people and throwing them in the black hole of the federal system, just like they did me. And so now Donald Trump can't give me a pardon or anything like that, because then everybody's going to look at him and call him a hypocrite. You're arresting all these people who threatened your administration and putting them in jail and charging them with the same crimes I was charged with, and you're going to let him go and you're going to give him a pass. So they're not gonna. I'm cooked. I'm going to follow these cases to see what happens to these people. There's one in Butler, PA, and then there's like 3 or 4 more. I don't remember the names. I need to write them down. Yeah, and also keep in mind, the job market is trash. Everyone's getting fired and fewer getting hired. That is absolutely true. You're lucky to have any job. Absolutely. Absolutely. It all started a few months before I came home, because at some point when I was in jail, everybody was telling me that the companies are so desperate to hire people, they'll hire anybody. You're not going to have a problem finding a job. And then I get out of prison and you can't even get a job at fucking McDonald's. So, so anyway, I appreciate that, angels in our midst. I'm going to take my own approach at trying to get early release or some kind of relief or pardon or whatever I can get after I get the car situation and some other things sorted out, because I got to put time into it. I'm going to have to contact people. I'm going to have to do something. It's not just going to come to me without me having to do something. I just don't have the energy for it right now. And the probation office, they're kind of just letting me live my life. As long as I stay out of trouble, I won't see them, is the way it kind of looks right now. So, anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. And I've been on for an extra almost 3 hours. So you got a bonus hour. I'm getting thirsty, so I'm going to have to get off of here. It was really cool hanging out with everybody. I'm glad y'all popped in to say hey, and I had a good time tonight. And next week, in fact, I'm going to do this right now. I'm going to grant permission to share my screen, and that way next time I can share my screen. Hold on. System settings. Oh, then you'll need to restart Chrome. Turn that on. Okay. Later. So I have to restart Chrome, entire screen, window, Chrome tab. Okay. And then, all right. So yeah, I'm going to say peace out to all of you. And because I'm going to have to restart Chrome for this permission to take place. But next time I can share my screen, and maybe I'll try and track down all those people that got arrested. That would be a good thing to talk about. And all the people that the Trump administration has arrested since he's been in power for basically the same thing as me. And that way we can kind of keep track of what happens to these people and what sentence they get and, compare. But anyway, I'm going to say good night, peace out, and we'll talk again soon. Thanks for stopping by. Okay, now how do I do this? I'm actually leaving. I gotta figure out how to do this. Oh, all right. Turn that on. Okay, quit and reopen. There we go. All right, I'm back for just a minute. I had to restart Chrome. I'm just gonna see if this screen share works. All right, here we go. Looks like that. You should be able to see. Yep, looks like. Oh, and I got I'm in the corner there. Got my Strava looking up, so I can look through my Strava bike rides. So yeah, that's perfect. All right, screen sharing's in effect. Now I'm really gonna go. But thanks for stopping by, and thanks, and we'll talk again next week. Everybody, peace out. See you later.